The informer believes this story is in the public interest for people to know about shocking allegations of immigration fraud. In this story, one woman claims she was subject to violence, theft, and kidnapped by another woman. This shocking story begins with Kenyan woman Nancy Sobayeni being kicked out of Australia in 2008 and alleges how she plotted a criminal scheme to get back in. The allegations by alleged victim Sunita Singh are that Nancy Sobayeni forced her to fake a lesbian relationship to commit immigration fraud to become an Australian citizen. The claims Sunita makes will outrage domestic violence victims and the LGBTIQ+ community. Her claims will have you asking why and how did Sobayeni do it? How did she defraud Australia's immigration system? Sunita says Nancy took advantage of her fragile emotional state, the government's attitude towards LGBTIQ+ relationships. Sunita says she was a domestic violence victim who thought Nancy Sobayeni was her friend. In fact, Sunita now claims she was Nancy Sobayeni's ticket from Africa to Australia. Sunita says Sobayeni took her overseas for a holiday and then stole her passport, kidnapped her, and held her hostage, deprived her of her freedom, subjected her to physical violence until Sunita surrendered and agreed to participate in fraud against the Australian government so Nancy Sobayeni could get her citizenship. And it appeared to work. Nancy Sobayeni is now an Australian citizen who lives on government welfare, while Sunita tells us of her daily struggles with the trauma of what she says happened to her. The Morrison government claims it has been investigating the case since 2020, but no action has been taken as yet. We contacted Nancy Sobayeni, who declined to comment or answer our questions and was later contacted by Sobayeni's lawyer, who denied the allegations. The informer has, through a Freedom of Information request, seen documents by Border Force disclosing an investigation into the alleged immigration fraud by Sobayeni. Sunita, thank you for speaking with us. Can I ask you how it felt to be betrayed by someone who pretended to be your friend?
Nancy was a friend that I thought I could trust. And then all this happened where she even, I'd get bashed up because I wouldn't do what she wanted me to do. She had control over my money, my passport. So I felt like I had nowhere to go.
How did you become friends?
I'd known her for a fair bit because I'm also from Kenya and we were part of the Kenyan community. And that's how I got to meet her and we became really good friends.
Why did you go to Vanuatu with Nancy?
I left with Nancy to go to Vanuatu and Fiji to take my mind off my first marriage. And I was a mess. I was depressed. I was not in the right frame of mind. So when all this happened, I was close to giving up with myself and everything and just, I guess, gave in and did what I had to do.
Sunita, you know you could be prosecuted, so why have you decided to come forward now?
The lawyer has made me aware of what the consequences are, but I feel that I need to get it out there so that everyone knows what's happened. And if they think that I'm in the wrong because of what I've done, there is a possibility of me getting locked up. I think from memory, I think the lawyer said about 10 years, which is a big risk that I'm taking because I have 2 young kids and I don't want that to happen.
Have the authorities reached out to you and will you cooperate with them?
They haven't reached out to me yet. I'm prepared to fully cooperate.
How stressful has this been for you? It might have impacted you personally.
It's been hard. I've suffered from depression on and off, and I just want to put all this behind me.
What do you say to the people who may find your story hard to believe? Why didn't you go to the police overseas? And why didn't you escape or bring any attention to what was happening at the time?
When you're suffering from depression and you've just come out of a failed marriage that was physically abusive, you Well, when you become a DV victim, you can't come out and talk about it. You're too scared of authority because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what the other person's going to say, how they're going to react, which is why I never came out to say anything. And I was in that state mentally where with the previous relationship, I was already scared because I used to get bashed up. And then,
Sunita, when you look back, can you see where it went off track? Were there any red flags at the time?
well, now the whole everything from the word go, when I think about it, it's makes me wonder how many more red flags I needed before I noticed what was happening. When you're in that position, it's really hard to tell any of them.
Sunita, do you think the government is doing its job properly?
I don't know. She's gotten away with it and no one noticed.
So, do you think Nancy Sobayeni should be prosecuted and have her citizenship cancelled?
Yes. Yes. Totally. I guess I want justice to be served and no one should be treated the way I got treated.
Sunita, thank you for having the courage to come forward and tell us your story. We hope everything works out for you and that justice is finally served.
Thank you.